There was $38,000 in the checking account, and now it was left with $200. It's just been money that's been sitting there waiting for my mom to use as rent, as funds, as food, as utility payments.
At 11:00 p.m., Chan's phone stopped working. The transformation was immediate and total. One moment, he had a functioning device connected to his identity, his accounts, his digital life. The next moment, he had a piece of hardware displaying SOS where signal bars should be. The phone in his hand had become useless. The phone number that defined his digital identity now belonged to someone else. SIM swapping exploits a fundamental vulnerability in how modern security systems function. Two-factor authentication, the security measure designed to protect accounts by requiring verification through a second device, assumes that the phone number belongs to the legitimate owner. When that assumption fails, the protection becomes a pathway. The very mechanism designed to keep intruders out becomes the key that lets them in. The transfer required only a phone call. Someone contacted T-Mobile and requested that Chan's number be moved to a different device. The verification was minimal, the last 4 digits of a credit card. This information is not difficult to obtain. It appears on receipts, in data breaches, in the accumulated digital residue of ordinary commercial life. With 4 digits, a stranger became the owner of Chan's phone number. Chan asked the carrier why they had authorized the transfer. The response, "We had verification," reveals the procedural logic that enabled the theft. The system performed as designed. A request was made. Verification was provided. The transfer was executed. The fact that the verification came from a criminal rather than the account holder was not something the system could detect. The notifications that arrived at 11:00 p.m. were the first evidence that something was wrong. Passwords were being changed. The scammer was moving quickly, using the hijacked phone number to reset credentials across multiple accounts, to intercept authentication codes, to assume control of the digital infrastructure that connected Chan to his money, his email, his identity. He was asleep when the wire transfers occurred. 3 separate transactions, totaling $38,000, executed in the middle of the night while he had no way to receive alerts, no way to intervene, no way to know that his checking account was being emptied.
I couldn't make any calls in or out, and it shows up on your phone in the upper left-hand corner that there's SOS rather than bars that show.
The next morning, the Carlsbad resident learned someone had called his cell phone provider, Xfinity Mobile, and convinced them to transfer his phone number to a device he didn't own. This is known as the SIM swapping scam, and due to new eSIM technology, thieves no longer need to steal a physical SIM card to gain access to a victim's phone.
So I told them that this is not me, why did you switch the phone line over? And they basically said, we have verification. And I asked them, what kind of verification did you have? And said, we had the last 4 digits of your credit card. And I thought, that was not me, and why would you do that?
5 days later, Chan got a chilling letter in the mail from Bank of America showing 3 wire transfers totaling $38,000.
So up until that point, you had no idea?
I had no idea. At that point, the culprit took hold of my email account, and he had actually thrown away the notifications that I usually get from Bank of America.
And once you found out that $38,000 was gone, what were you thinking?
Fear, distress, horror. There was $38,000 in the checking account, and now it was left with $200.
The letter arrived 5 days after the theft. 3 wire transfers, $38,000. The delay between the crime and its discovery represents the window during which intervention might have been possible and during which nothing happened. The money moved. The accounts were accessed. The trail went cold. The scammer had not merely stolen Chan's phone number. He had taken control of his email account and deleted the notifications that Bank of America sends when wire transfers occur. The alerts that should have warned Chan were intercepted, read, and discarded. He received no indication that his account was being drained because the system designed to notify him had been turned against him. The wires went through in the middle of the night. Bank of America's systems processed the transactions without flagging them as unusual. 3 separate transfers, executed in rapid succession, at hours when Chan had never before conducted banking business, to recipients he had never before paid, and the system detected nothing worthy of pause. Chan's checking account contained money meant for his mother's rent, food, and utilities. The $38,000 was not investment capital or discretionary savings. It was operational funds earmarked for the basic expenses of survival. The theft did not merely reduce his wealth. It threatened his mother's housing, her meals, her ability to keep the lights on. Bank of America sent him a letter denying his claim. The transaction, they wrote, was confirmed valid by him via SMS text message. The statement is technically accurate and fundamentally absurd. The text message confirmation went to his phone number. His phone number had been stolen. The confirmation was sent to the criminal who stole it. The bank's own security measure, the SMS verification designed to prevent unauthorized transactions, had been used to authorize the theft, and the bank cited that authorization as proof that the theft was legitimate. The FBI reports that SIM swapping cost victims more than $48 million last year. Approximately 800 cases have been documented in 2024 so far, with at least 9 in San Diego alone. The analyst describes massive underreporting. The visible cases represent only a fraction of the actual incidents. Many victims never report. Many do not understand what happened to them. Many are dismissed by institutions that treat hijacked authentication as valid consent.
I've never wired money out of Bank of America. It's just been money that's been sitting there waiting for my mom to use as rent, as funds, as food, as utility payments.
Nationally, the FBI says SIM swapping cost victims more than $48 million last year. So far, in 2024, the FBI is aware of about 800 cases of SIM swapping.
That was just as bad as the criminal taking the money from me initially.
The recipient of the $20,000 wire transfer has a name. The reporter traced it to a convicted felon in Sacramento with 35 charges since 2001: fraudulent checks, theft by false pretenses, stolen vehicles, drug offenses. The identity is known. The address is findable. The criminal record is documented across decades. And yet Chan remains out $38,000. The disconnect between available evidence and actual recovery defines the experience of SIM swapping victims. The trail exists. The money went somewhere. The recipient used their real name on a bank account. But the systems that should connect evidence to justice do not move at the speed of wire transfers. They move at the speed of case assignments, of investigative resources, of prosecutorial priorities in jurisdictions already overwhelmed. After the reporter got involved, Bank of America reopened Chan's case. The intervention of media attention accomplished what the victim's own documentation could not. The bank now says it prioritizes client protection and reimburses customers for fraud losses resulting from verified unauthorized transactions. Whether Chan's transaction will be reclassified from confirmed valid to verified unauthorized remains to be seen. The phone carrier, T-Mobile, says SIM swapping is a problem affecting the entire cell phone industry. The statement is accurate. It is also insufficient. The transfer that enabled this theft required only 4 digits and a phone call. The verification standard that authorized the destruction of Chan's financial security was indistinguishable from no verification at all. Chan went to sleep with $42,000 in his account. He woke up with $200. The difference? $38,000 moved through systems that processed it as legitimate, that confirmed it as authorized, that treated the hijacking of his identity as consent. His mother's rent is due. The utilities require payment. The food must be purchased. The money that was supposed to cover these expenses is now in the account of a convicted felon in Sacramento, and the institution that processed the transfer says the transaction was valid because they sent a text message to a phone that no longer belonged to the person they were supposed to protect.
Intelligence analyst David Tomaz says at least 9 of those cases are in San Diego, but
I think there's massive underreporting, though.
Walk me through why this is so problematic for someone who's a victim of this. What happens when they get the number ported over?
They're accessing different accounts. They're using the two-factor authentication text messages as a bypass. So they're getting into your email accounts, they're getting into financial accounts, they're getting into any other online identity they need access to, and then they can wreak all sorts of havoc on your online identity.
How easy is it for scammers to use this to get into your phone?
It can be very easy. It depends on their technical sophistication and the training that the company is using.
two-factor authentication codes are meant to be an extra layer of security to keep the bad guys out of your bank account, social media sites, and email. But they can be used against you if a criminal hijacks your phone number. Experts have advice so you don't become a victim.
You can protect yourself by taking a few steps. You want to make sure that you're keeping unique passwords. That's very important. You can also contact your phone carrier and ask about setting up a PIN. So whenever there is a change to your account, this PIN will be required.
It seems like a nightmare if this happens to you.
This is an absolute nightmare. This is something that you want to make sure that as soon as you find out or get any clue that this might have happened to you, that you contact your phone carrier immediately, and make sure that you also let your financial institutions know as soon as possible.
Chan followed that advice and reported the incident. Soon after, the bank sent him this letter. It said, "Based on our research, we've determined your claim can't be honored. Our investigation found the transaction in question was confirmed valid by you via SMS text message."